Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, Elon Musk attempts a trillion-dollar fusion of space and silicon, Denmark puts the railway on autopilot, and the Olympics get roasted for AI slop. Let's get into the mix. I have to say, looking at the stack of stories today, the energy just feels frantic.
It really does.
It feels like everyone is rushing toward the exit door of, business as usual. We have these valuations that defy gravity, robots taking over public transit.
It's going to be a heavy one today. The markets are moving, everyone is screaming innovation, but looking at the data, I have to ask, is this actual value we're seeing, or is it just extremely expensive vaporware?
That is the question.
Because the numbers are starting to detach from reality.
And nowhere is that detachment bigger or louder or more expensive than our lead story. This is a huge narrative coming out of the All In podcast. We're talking a potential valuation of $1.25 trillion.
Which is a number so big it almost stops meaning anything.
Yeah.
But we need to break down where it comes from. Because it's not just hype. It's a thesis on the future of, physics and finance.
So, Brad Gerstner, he's the chair of Altimeter Capital, handle is @AltCap. He dropped this bomb on at the Stalin Pod. He's talking about a merger of Elon Musk's xAI.
His AI company.
And SpaceX. Gerstner calls this merging the two biggest TAMs, total addressable markets, in the world.
Right. So for anyone not in venture capital, TAM is just a fancy way of saying, how much money could we possibly make?
Yeah.
And usually you have one TAM, you sell cars or you sell ads.
Right.
Gerstner's arguing Musk is combining the market for connectivity, Starlink, with the market for intelligence through xAI.
And the pitch is very specific. It isn't just, Musk has two cool companies, let's mash them together. It's orbital compute. The idea is you take the massive energy demands of AI, which are becoming a real bottleneck on Earth.
A huge bottleneck.
And you move the data centers to space. You use solar power to fuel all that AI compute.
And the logic, at first glance, it sounds flawless. On Earth, data centers are fighting for grid access.
Yeah.
In space,
Infinite energy.
the sun is shining 247. It's effectively infinite energy. No NMBY neighbors complaining, no land costs.
Gerstner says this positions Musk as the only person who can execute this in the next 30 months. It sounds like the ultimate competitive moat.
It is a moat. But we have to pump the brakes here and look at the physics, not just the finance.
Yeah.
Because there is a very, very specific reason we don't put massive heat-generating servers in a vacuum.
I always just assumed it was the cost of launching them.
That's part of it, for sure. But the bigger problem is thermodynamics. I mean, think about your laptop. When it gets hot, a fan blows air over it to cool it down.
Right. Convection.
Or you put it on a cold table, that's conduction. Space is a vacuum. A vacuum is an insulator. It's like the world's best thermos flask. Heat has nowhere to go.
So the server would just cook itself.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
You can only get rid of heat through radiation, which is incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
So while the infinite solar pitch sounds great for power in, the thermodynamics of getting the heat out are a nightmare. You'd need radiators larger than the solar panels themselves.
So if the physics are that hard, is this really a tech play? Or is it more of a financial narrative to raise capital?
It feels like a capital efficiency play. I mean, look at the balance sheets. SpaceX is capital-intensive building rockets, costs billions. xAI is capital-intensive buying chips, costs billions.
Both are money pits.
So if you merge them, you can leverage the AI hype to fund the rockets. Or you use the steady cash flow from Starlink to buy more chips. It's financial engineering as much as it is aerospace engineering.
It simplifies the story for investors.
It does. But there's another layer here, and it connects to a post from @Cyberdoge. They shared a clip of Musk saying the future currency is wattage.
Wattage as currency.
This is where it gets really fascinating. This moves the conversation from tech company to, central bank.
Explain that, because I can't pay for my coffee in kilowatt hours.
Not yet, but think about it. If you believe AI is the most valuable resource of the future,
Right. Solves cancer, writes code.
then you have to ask, what is AI made of? It's made of compute, and what is compute made of?
Energy watts.
Exactly. So whoever controls the energy generation controls the value. If Musk can argue that space is the ultimate source of energy, and he controls access to space, he isn't just building a product, he's trying to become the Federal Reserve of compute.
That's some massive ambition.
It's a macroscopic way of looking at the economy.
But let's bring this back to reality. The reality on the ground, or I guess in the sky, because while the financial narrative is orbital compute, the operational reality for SpaceX looks a little different. We saw a crucial update from @IamZimX.
Ah, the timeline shift.
Yeah.
This is the bucket of cold water on the trillion-dollar fire.
SpaceX is officially delaying its Mars plans. The uncrewed missions are pushed back. The new focus is the moon. Specifically, an uncrewed lunar landing by March 2027 to align with NASA's Artemis program.
And this is the reality check. The Mars dream is the vision that sells the T-shirts, gets the fans excited.
But the business.
The business reality is government contracts. It's Artemis. They have to deliver on the moon base infrastructure to keep the revenue flowing. NASA is the customer that pays the bills.
The video @IamZim shared still has Musk talking about making life multiplanetary, but the schedule is definitely bowing to the government.
It tells you that you can't escape logistics. Gerstner said 30 months for orbital compute. Musk is now saying 2027 just to land a ship on the moon. Those timelines are colliding.
Speaking of government checks and, well, the stability of the economy, let's slide into our first deep dive. We're looking at the economy of work and maybe the end of it.
The end of labor thesis. This always makes people nervous, and for good reason.
It's huge. We've got a viral clip from @PeterDemondis featuring the futurist Ray Kurzweil. And Kurzweil, his track record is pretty good, directionally at least. The claim here is bold. Retirement is going to become obsolete.
But not because we'll work forever.
No, the opposite. He claims humans just won't work for money anymore. Kurzweil is doubling down on his timeline, AGI by 2029 and full abundance by the 2030s.
Abundance is the key word there. It implies the cost of living drops to near zero because robots and AI do everything.
Exactly. Food is automated, housing is printed, and the vibe of the post from Diamandis is surprisingly positive. He points out that, according to Gallup, something like 79% of people hate their jobs anyway.
Right, they're disengaged.
So the argument is, why are we clinging to labor when most people are miserable? This is liberation.
It sounds like liberation until you ask the boring accountant question.
You always bring it back to the balance sheet.
Someone has to. If you look at the context for that post, it highlights the strain on government pensions. Our entire society, Social Security tax revenue is based on income tax. If you decouple income from labor, you destroy the tax base.
So if the robots are doing the work but they aren't paying income tax, the government goes broke.
Precisely. If you delete the workforce, you crash the funding mechanism for the very society you're trying to liberate. Kurzweil talks about the destination 2035, everything's free, but he skips the messy decade where millions lose jobs and the tax system just collapses.
And that messy decade is not hypothetical. While Kurzweil is talking philosophy, Europe is actually building the hardware. You're looking at the train news out of Denmark.
Yes, this is the perfect counterpoint. Look at NXT4EU. This isn't a theory, it's a signed contract. Denmark just ordered 226 fully automated trains from Siemens and Stadler.
A €3 billion deal.
Exactly. 3 billion euros. They're talking driverless operations on Copenhagen's suburban network starting in 2030.
The video looked incredibly sleek. Red trains just gliding through stations, no driver.
And that is where the jobs actually go. They don't disappear into some philosophical abundance ether. They go to a Siemens robot. And notice the geography. This is Denmark. The context notes that larger nations like Germany are slower.
Why is that? You could think Germany would love the engineering.
Union resistance.
Yeah.
The end of labor isn't a uniform ways. It's a patchwork. Denmark is showing us automation is an efficiency play. They get a 30% capacity boost without laying new track.
Because the robots drive more precisely.
Right, but it also means those driver jobs are gone. Forever.
So the liberation Kurzweil talks about looks a lot like unemployment, unless that abundance policy kicks in really, really fast.
And right now, the technology is winning that race by a mile.
Speaking of technology racing ahead, let's move to our second deep dive, the interface wars. If the trains are driving themselves, who is writing the code to tell them where to go?
This is the tech and innovation block, and honestly, it feels like a gold rush. We're seeing things that just shouldn't be possible yet.
It really does. There's a post from @OnGaiz that just blew my mind. They used Opus 4.6 Max inside the cursor editor to build a full Minecraft clone.
And we're not talking about a screenshot.
No, I'm talking inventory systems, crafting tables, tools, health bars. A functional game.
In how long?
30 minutes. It wrote 3,900 lines of code.
That is absurd. But, and there's always but what about the cost? The user noted it cost $11 in credits for that one session.
$11 doesn't sound like much for a game engine. That's, what, 10 minutes of a developer's time?
For a prototype, sure. But can you scale that? If every 30-minute session costs $11 and you have 1,000 engineers, the burn rate is astronomical. Is this a tool for mass production, or is it a cool toy for rich devs?
That's a valid concern. But the bigger issue you highlighted isn't even the cost, it's how we talk to these things.
Yes, this is the bottleneck. At Zach Loy Tweets weighed in on this. He tried Anthropic's Claude Code, which is a command line tool, and he said he missed the GUI, the mouse, the scroll, the ability to click.
It's so funny. We have the most advanced intelligence in human history, and we're going back to the command line like it's 1980.
That's the irony. We have these God-tier models. At Inare is confirmed Opus 4.6 is crazy fast, but we're trapping them in these text-based interfaces from 40 years ago. Eno's point is that the bottleneck is no longer the AI, it's the interface. We're trying to fly a starship with a telegraph machine.
And that friction creates a messy ecosystem. We're seeing it with agents too, right? This tool, OpenClaw.
The virtual assistant that runs on your local machine.
So at McVassil's released a plugin so you can talk to it via iMessage. Super cool. You can text your computer. But then you see a post from @LyCombinator about a new startup called Uspits.
And what does Uspits do?
Its entire business model is helping people install OpenClaw because it's too hard for engineers to set up.
And that is the perfect summary of AI right now. You have a revolutionary tool, but you need a Y Combinator startup just to get it running. If the agent revolution requires a degree in systems engineering to install, it's not a revolution yet. It's a hobbyist club.
It's definitely messy. But while the engineers are fighting with command lines, the culture war is fighting over what these models produce. Let's talk about the slop crisis.
Slop. That is the word of the week.
It really is. The Winter Olympics 2026 intro video dropped, and at Venture Twins pointed out it was fully AI generated by Alibaba's Wan AI.
First time in Olympic history. And probably the last, judging by the reaction.
It was.
Brutal. AI slop. That was the consensus. People feel it's cheap, it lacks soul, it feels like a hallucination of a memory rather than art.
It's so interesting because big brands like the Olympics are clearly adopting this to cut costs. They see efficiency. The public sees garbage.
It's a total vibe mismatch. The Olympics is supposed to be about human achievement, blood, sweat, and tears. Using a machine to generate the intro feels antithetical to the whole spirit of the event. It's a PR disaster.
But the tech isn't stopping. We have at Higgsfield Eye showing off Kling 3.0 with high-fidelity 4K video. The visuals are getting better.
The visuals are improving, but the real disruption might not be coming from the safe models we see in the West. This is the part that should really scare Hollywood.
You're looking at that post from @NostaD.
Yes. They showcase Seedance 2.0. It's a model from ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok.
And the keyword there was uncensored.
Exactly. The user showed this fight scene that looked like something out of Arcane. But the selling point was that it doesn't have the safety guard rails and copyright blocks that Western models do.
That's a huge competitive difference. If I'm a studio, do I use the model that refuses to generate a fight scene because it violates policy, or the one that just does the work?
That is the question. If Western models are hobbled by safety teams and Chinese models just say generate whatever you want, the creative market is going to flow to the path of least resistance. Regulatory arbitrage is coming for the movies.
A sobering thought. All right, before we wrap, let's hit our quick hits. Robotics and space mysteries.
My favorite mix.
First up, the robot showdown. Sawyer Merritt shared a video of Boston Dynamics Atlas doing parkour, flips, jumps, total athleticism.
It's impressive engineering. I love watching Atlas. But I'm going to take the cynical side again. Compare it to Tesla's Optimus.
The popcorn server.
Yes, Optimus was shown serving popcorn. Now, Atlas is a $200,000 gymnast. Optimus is aiming to be a $20,000 factory worker.
One is vanity, one is utility.
Exactly. I'm betting on the popcorn server. Scaling a $20,000 robot that does boring chores is a $1 trillion business. A robot that does backflips is a circus act.
Function over form. Finally, a moment of wonder. Latest in Cosmos reminded us it's the anniversary of the WOW signal.
1977. 14 and 20 megahertz.
The only time we've ever heard something that sounded truly artificial, some deep space. A strong, narrowband signal.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
It's the ultimate ghosting. 50 years of listening to static. It really frames everything else we've talked about today. We're building orbital computers and robot waiters on this one little rock. And out there,
yeah,
silence.
Maybe they're just waiting for us to get our latency down.
Or they saw our AI slop and decided to stay away.
A very fair point. If they saw the Olympic intro, they definitely turned the ship around. So, looking at all this chaos, what's your prediction for tomorrow?
Prediction. The wattage as currency narrative is going to heat up. Watch for a major crypto energy partnership announcement soon. If compute is the new gold, the grid is the new gold standard. Someone is going to tokenize the power grid.
You heard it here first. Keep your energy high and your latency low.
Don't get automated.
Clear out.